An old woman is sewing peacefully at home. Suddenly noises of a moving creature are heard. The old woman gets scared and looks for an exterminator's number. She calls him. The exterminator tells her they could be rats. The old woman tells him her name is Helga. The exterminator arrives at the old woman's house and realizes other exterminators have come. As he goes upstairs, he finds a disgusting slime coming out of Helga's apartment. The exterminator goes to investigate the noises in the apartment. He finds a trail of blood on the floor and the body of another exterminator. Then the creature takes the exterminator away, but it seems the creature is still hungry. So the old woman calls another exterminator, and that's how it begins. Welcome to Random Recaps. In this video, I am going to recap the movie. For days earlier, a spider falls from space and lands in an apartment. A girl named Charlotte comes out of the air vents and notices it, finding the spider. But someone is coming, so the girl goes back into the vents. We meet Charlotte's Aunt Gunter. We see the old woman from before who used to have pets. Gunter scolds Charlotte's stepfather Ethan that his daughter broke the window. Charlotte goes back to her room and keeps the spider in a bottle. Ethan asks Charlotte if she broke the window.
No.
After that, Charlotte names the spider Sting. Charlotte's mother Heather asks her to watch her younger half-brother Liam, though Charlotte doesn't want to.
You are the bane of my existence.
Then Charlotte gets a bug and feeds it to Sting, but the spider is still hungry, so she feeds it another bug.
Cool.
Later, Heather goes to take care of her mother, who we realize is the old woman from the beginning and has Alzheimer's, not even remembering her own daughter.
You should meet my daughter.
We see that Charlotte has a comic written by her and drawn by her stepfather. She goes to spend time with Ethan, and then her mother joins them for dinner. Later, Ethan was going to draw, but he hears a noise in Charlotte's room and finds drawings of the spider made by her. Charlotte arrives, and Ethan congratulates her on the drawing. That night, while Charlotte sleeps, the spider escapes through the air vents toward her grandmother's apartment. The next day, while everyone is at work, Gunter screams after finding a dead bird, claiming there are rats.
Rats?
So they call an exterminator, the one from the beginning. Seeing the bird, he says,
Looks like it tried to have sex with a blender.
Gunter keeps insisting there are rats, though the exterminator disagrees. The exterminator sprays bug killer through the vents. Meanwhile, Charlotte realizes Sting can imitate sounds when she plays a bird sound.
You're a mimic.
So she brings him more bugs to eat. She also finds a naphthalene ball, which scares Sting, realizing the naphthalene can burn the spider. Now noticing Sting has grown larger. Meanwhile, the exterminator starts fumigating the building. When he goes to fumigate Charlotte's room, she stops him, saying Sting won't like it. The exterminator asks to see the spider but gets scared and leaves.
What the?
That night, Charlotte keeps feeding Sting. Later, when everyone's asleep, the spider escapes its jar again. The neighbor's dog notices and starts barking. The neighbor takes it out, and we see Sting walking over the neighbor's body, then attacking her. The neighbor starts vomiting and passes out, hitting her head hard. Sting enters through her mouth, killing her from the inside.
Gangster. That's gangster.
The next day, Charlotte visits the neighbor Eric to buy one of his fish tanks for the spider. Charlotte shows Eric the spider and says she can't find any resemblance to other spiders online since Sting can grow rapidly over hours. She shows Eric that Sting can mimic sounds.
Charlotte, spiders don't have vocal cords. This is not a spider.
Fascinated by the spider, Eric asks Charlotte to leave him alone with it, and he'll give her the tank. Ethan and Heather hear a noise through the vents. Ethan checks, but it's just the neighbor's dog. When Ethan returns the dog, he realizes the neighbor is dead and calls the police. Eric then calls Ethan, telling him about the spider and his extensive knowledge of spiders, but having no idea what kind Sting is. He warns against keeping the spider in the apartment since it could be venomous and deadly, showing how large it has become.
Whoa!
When Ethan returns, he confronts Charlotte about knowing of the spider. Charlotte runs to find Sting, but Eric doesn't open the door for her. Charlotte argues with Ethan for not letting her keep the spider and for removing everything Charlotte liked from the comic, which was based on her father, saying her father is better than him. Ethan angrily asks why she doesn't visit him, revealing her father lives just a few miles away, not in Thailand as Charlotte thought. Charlotte cries and goes to her room. Heather gets mad at Ethan for telling her. Meanwhile, Eric is feeding Sting animals to make it grow.
Who's next?
We then see Ethan half asleep, waking up to see the spider, though it wasn't the real one. Later, we see the enormous spider coming out of the tent. Meanwhile, Heather takes care of her mother. The dog hears Sting through the vent. Gunter's cat is missing, so she goes to look for it, hearing it meowing through the vents. Gunter enters the vents, her flashlight goes out, and when she lights a match, the spider takes her, keeping her in its webs. After so much stress, Ethan breaks the TV. Heather scolds him and tells him to control himself. Then we see Sting on the ceiling. It attacks Ethan and Heather, taking them away. Charlotte, wearing headphones, doesn't notice Sting taking Ethan away despite the barking dog. As the dog won't stop barking, Charlotte removes her headphones and checks the air vent.
What the hell is going on?
Finding nothing. The spider has everyone in its webs. Charlotte realizes it's Sting and closes the vent, though it doesn't matter as Sting appears behind her, taking her brother too. Charlotte grabs a knife to defend herself, gets the naphthalene balls and turns them into powder, adding water and getting a water gun to use against Sting. Charlotte enters through the vents and finds the dead cat, going to Eric's apartment and finding him trapped on the ceiling. She then goes to her grandmother's, asking if she's seen anything strange. The grandmother says there's a black dog that runs away whenever she tries to touch it.
Don't take this off, Grandma.
Charlotte finds more naphthalene balls to make water bottles filled with it. Before looking for Sting, she sprinkles naphthalene on herself. Ethan tries to escape the webs, and Charlotte hears his scream. Finding him, the exterminator arrives. Charlotte removes the webs from Ethan, and we see the beginning of the movie where the exterminator goes upstairs. Ethan hears Liam crying. Then Sting comes to attack them, dropping down from the vent towards Charlotte. But Ethan harms Sting with the naphthalene. Then the exterminator falls through the vent. Only one naphthalene water bottle remains. The exterminator wants to throw it, but Ethan takes it away. Sting appears. The exterminator attacks it with his nail gun, accidentally activating the fire sprinklers, washing off the naphthalene from their bodies. So Sting takes advantage and kills the exterminator. Ethan and Charlotte get into the trash compactor, finding their mother and Liam there. Ethan frees her from the webs. Sting appears larger than ever. As it enters the compactor, Ethan tries closing it, but it's not working as it's unplugged.
Oh, come on!
Ethan tries reconnecting it while Charlotte prevents Sting from entering. Ethan connects the compactor but gets electrocuted, and Charlotte kills Sting. Heather manages to revive Ethan. Charlotte tells him she loves him. Everyone hugs each other, everyone is happy, but stops celebrating because Sting left eggs behind. And that's how the movie ends.